had a little bit of a conceptual introduction to the class, but now what I want to do is something extremely practical and old-fashioned. We're standing here in the John Baldessari Art Studio building at CalArts, furthering your virtual tour of the campus a little bit more, and I'm joined by the TA and producer for this particular course, Jen Hutton. What we want to do is we want to just go through the syllabus. This is what I would do if I was teaching a class in real time, and I think it's an important thing to do with you as well. Of course, all this information is on the website, but it's sometimes helpful to just talk it through so everybody can kind of have various ways of understanding the structure of the course. This course is designed to be 8 weeks of lectures and discussion and assignments with an extra week at the end to do final assessments, evaluations, and a little bit of back and forth and other kinds of surprises that we might cook up as we go along. So 9 weeks in total. It is an art history class that's designed for artists, but it is meant to include everyone. And in that regard, we've designed 2 different tracks for the assignments, right?
Yes.
And so, and I'm correct in saying that although there will be 2 choices for each assignment, you can pick and choose amongst the 2 tracks. But one is designed primarily for visual thinkers and for Coursera students who are comfortable working with media and materials. And another is designed for sort of more traditional art historical thinkers who might be more comfortable writing a narrative or short essays and text. So you can have a look at the assignments and you can choose the ones that seem most appealing to you or most useful to you in terms of your own practice as you're going along. What are we going to learn? What are we all going to learn from this course? And I think the other thing that's important to know is just, even though I'm the teacher and Jen is the TA and you are the students, we're all in here to learn something about art from each other and the different experiences we bring, and also learn something about this particular way of teaching art and art history, which is still very much in experimental stages, so we're kind of all explorers together. But I do think, as in a traditional course, by the end of this course, you should be more comfortable with some of the key concepts in visual representation and analysis, whether it's single images or time-based work, whether it is traditional kind of painting, sculpture, object-based work, or whether it's new media or more experimental and hybridized work. And you'll show us and help us understand how much you are grasping of all of this by your participation in the assignments and the quizzes. Then the next thing we hope is that we'll all develop a greater sense of historical consciousness and also cultural respect for each other and our differences. One of the challenges of teaching a broad-based history of art is recognizing that there's just not one art. There's not one history. So we'll try to demonstrate that sensitivity when we're talking about works and when we're responding to your work. And we'll also ask you to display that sensitivity to others when you're doing peer assessment and engaging in conversation on the discussion forums. We will have a discussion forum set up, particularly to ask questions about the structure of the class, right?
Of course.
And Jen will be primarily in charge of that, that forum. So you can imagine, I mean, one of the things that's really important to me is that this not feel too abstract, and you really have a sort of sense of who you're talking to, which is why I have Jen with me, supporting me through this particular discussion right now. We all will work on developing our skills of visual observation and description. It's one thing to say, this is a painting by Picasso of, or I know what that is, but it's another thing to be able to talk confidently about how works of art are put together and how the choices that an artist makes when they go about making a work of art are relevant in their particularity and in not only what is chosen but also what is not chosen. And believe me when I tell you that I have taught in both art schools for a very long time and also in more traditional liberal arts colleges and universities, and it's not necessarily so that artists talk about artwork better than others, better than literary scholars or critics or even people with a basic kind of appreciation of art and no specialized knowledge at all. It actually takes practice to be able to put what you see into words. And part of the work that we'll be doing together is practicing just that. And then finally, we hope that we all, us through the making of this course, which has taken a great deal of creative thinking and problem solving, but also through the work that we're going to do together in the assignments, we hope that you will develop greater skills in creative thinking, critical thinking, and problem solving. And that means understanding one of, I think, the toughest things for new students of art to wrap their minds around, which is in art there really are no right answers. There's no perfect solution, mostly, and there is no one way to do anything. So as opposed to working towards the correct solution to a mathematical formula, for example, we're going to work on trying on different possibilities, on putting ideas through their paces, and not always settling on the first idea that comes to mind, but putting several on the table before we decide which ones to take further. And that in design thinking is called iterative thinking, and it's a useful thing to learn no matter what you end up being in the world, whether an artist or not. So if you watch the video lectures and participate actively in the discussion forum and do the assignments as sincerely and attentively as you can, hopefully by the end you will have a sensation of being further along in the process of understanding and thinking about and making art than you were at the beginning of this course. And as teachers and fellow learners, that's really the best that we can hope for. You will be expected to keep a notebook for this class, and I'll talk a little bit about materials in a minute. We know that these courses, 9 weeks goes by in a flash. A semester is usually longer than that, and most of you are doing other things. We've structured it so that there are some optional assignments, and we hope that you do them because it's just part of practicing and thinking and getting your hands sort of dirty without worrying too much about getting a good grade or getting it right or whatever. And then also there will be 3 required assignments for the course that will be posted in modules set up for that purpose and be evaluated through peer review and assessment as well. There are several short quizzes, and that's just because it's a satisfying way to practice remembering what you know. And it gives you a feeling of achievement when you get a good score. Those quizzes will be graded by machines, but you'll have more than one opportunity to take them so that you can try to improve your score as well. And then the final and most important assignment for this course, I really think, and it's an assignment I give every time I teach, is at the end of the semester, there isn't a big, sort of epochal exam, but I ask you to set aside a bit of time to write a final short essay that is a self-evaluation of what you think you're going to take away from this class and what you'd like to do next with it. It's a really useful thing, no matter what you do in the world, to set aside some time for reflection, and it's sometimes hard to do that unless there's a formal means to do so. So this provides you with that formal means, and the other part of that is that it will allow us to understand better what you've learned and what we could do better when we offer this course again. So stick with us. If you have any questions, post them to the discussion forum, and Jen will answer them, helped by the other TAs for the course. And I think we're all going to have a really good time.